You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. Sports Radio.
Strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you can be next. You better give respect. Cause ain't nobody breaking this redneck. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared. No, they don't really want none.
This is Coach Scott Vermillion, head coach of the defending state champion Gate City Boys basketball team. And you're listening to the home of the Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be and however you may be listening to us. Thank you for making us a part of your Friday evening. You're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. I'm Joe Carter along with Chris Carr, and we're coming to you live from Virginia High's Bearcat Den here in Bristol, Virginia, as our Gate City Blue Devils, champions of the Mountain 7 District and the Region D, continue their journey towards repeating as state champions as they take on the Martinsville Bulldogs tonight in the VHSL state quarterfinals, the Elite 8 of the 2A division. Tonight's winner will move on to the VHSL Final Four and play the winner of Graham and Radford. For the loser, the road to Richmond ends here in Bristol. Here on the Premier Pharmacy pregame show, we'll have an in-depth look at the Gate City Martinsville matchup, talk about the keys to the game, go over the starting lineups, and get you ready for tonight's matchup and live coverage of the boys' game. So we'll be back in just about a minute here with our coverage. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
When it comes to health, it's personal. You were created from scratch, so why not your medicine? Premier Pharmacy on Jack White Drive in Kingsport, where our solutions aren't cookie cutter. Each treatment is as unique as you are. With 25 years of creating personalized medicine, Premier Pharmacy puts you first. At Premier Pharmacy, you're a name, not a refill. Premier Pharmacy, Jack White Drive, Kingsport. Find them on Facebook or stop by for a free consultation.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. Sports Radio.
We are the Gate City Cheerleaders, and you're listening to the home of the Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
All right, back here about 10 minutes before the start of this Elite 8 matchup, Martinsville and Gate City. Do want to bring in the man, the myth, the legend. He is Chris Demolition Carr. Chris, how are you tonight, buddy?
I am happy to be here. Seems like it's been a lot longer than a week since we've done this, Joe.
Yes, indeed. Like I said, last week, of course, we were at Graham, took down the G-Men for the regional championship. You, unfortunately, wasn't there. Want to give you a shout-out, though. Opportunity to brag on your kids there. Where were you at last Saturday?
I appreciate that. I sponsor the Destination Imagination team at my school, and it's like competitive problem solving. We do the improv competition. They came through a big second-place finish, so we qualified for the state tournament.
Going to the state. That's in April, and that's in Nashville. Is that correct?
April 5th. Actually, I think it's in Spring Hill, just south of Nashville.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you all and to the team and everybody going. I also want to send a shout-out, again, to all of our listeners out there. Want to thank each and every one of you all, again, for making us a part of your Friday evening. Want to send a shout-out. I know that my parents over in Duffield, Virginia is listening tonight. Want to give a shout-out to them. I know we've got some listeners tonight in New Jersey that's tuning in for the first time. Want to give a shout-out to them. Also to probably your family around Kingsport. So we've got, and we also still got listeners internationally. We've got 9 countries that listen to our broadcast and want to thank them.
Let's hope that there's no Russian collusion going on here.
Ooh, he went there. All right, so we got about 9 minutes left before tip-off. Let's talk about the keys to the game. Again, Martinsville and Gate City as they come in here tonight. Of course, Martinsville team out of the Piedmont District, Region C runner-up, and of course our Blue Devils come in as the Region D champions. I think one of the first things to talk about in terms of this game is the battle of the bigs, if you will. Gate City's going to have Sally, George, Vermillion, Reed inside. But Martinsville will counter with probably the biggest and most athletic front line they've seen since the Arby's Classic. The Bulldogs' front line averages 6'5", and again, they led the Piedmont District in blocked shots. Rebounding and points in the paint is going to be a premium, Chris. And again, the Blue Devils must play at least even or ahead inside if we're going to win.
You're kind of understating things, Joe. This team is huge. They have 2 players 5'11". Everyone else is above.
Okay, so I sugarcoated just a tad. Again, talking about their inside game, of course. They've got a great sophomore, 6'6", Joheim Niblett. He's averaging 8 points, 10 rebounds, but also 3 blocks per game. Again, I think it's going to be big for us to play big inside.
Well, when you look at their averages, Martinsville's averaging 53 points a game compared to 77.4 for Gate City. But something tells me watching them warm up that that's a little misleading. I've got the feeling Martinsville is a lot better team than their averages indicate.
Well, and Martinsville plays in Region C. They get a lot of teams out of the Roanoke area, a lot of the middle of Virginia. Again, their losses this year have been mostly to upper echelon teams in the 3A, 4A. The only team they've lost to in this same 2A division is Radford. Again, Radford Region C champions. Again, they knocked them off last week. So, again, this is a very good and dangerous Martinsville team. So, I think the second thing is Gate City's got to be ready for the physical play of Martinsville. Again, this is the most athletic team we've seen in a while, and Martinsville has the defensive athleticism to play Dean and Irvin with those double teams, force them others to step up. You know, we saw that against like Dobbins Bennett in Cleveland, Tennessee. They had the athletes to double, again, our big two. Zach Irvins came back again after that 8-game, for his injury, but we've got to have some other people step up and, again, be ready for this physical Martinsville team.
Well, based off the play we saw in the girls' games, it's a different officiating crew, but they let them play. There's a lot of elbows, saw a little blood flying.
Yep.
So that could play right into Martinsville's hands tonight.
Well, I do want to send a shout-out to Homeacre. The Lady Tigers knocked off Galax here in the first game of the Twin Bill, 38-30. They will move on, and I believe they take on Perry McClure in the state semifinals. So congratulations to the Lady Tigers. As right now, we're about 6 minutes away from tip-off. The Blue Devils have just concluded warm-ups. That's it with the cheer you heard. Again, they're off the court. Martinsville still on the court as we've got a little less than 6 minutes. I think the next thing is, Chris, Gate City has got to be disciplined. The Blue Devils' offensive efficiency increases by at least 40% when at least 3 Blue Devils touch the basketball on an offensive possession. Crisp passes, movement, making that extra pass tonight, catching Martinsville in defensive rotations. We've got to have cutters, and we've got to be able to move because, as we talked in the pregame with the coaches, this Martinsville team not only plays a good man-to-man, they jump in that 2-3 zone, and again, they clog things up. We've got to have some movement to get that offense going if we're going to win here tonight.
Well, one thing that jumps out at me when I look at their quarter averages, Gate City has got to have a great first half. In the first quarter, the teams are deadlocked. They both have 14-point averages. Second quarter, Gate City's averaging 25 points. Martinsville is coming in and averaging 9.5. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Again, watching this team, I have a hard time with that. That could be a misprint from my sources, but the third quarter, Gate City's outscoring them 24-14. Fourth quarter, 23-13 favors Gate City. So Gate City cannot come out, though, with their normal slow start they sometimes do. They need to come out and put some points on the board.
Well, when we talked to some of the announcers for Martinsville, this is, even though they're very athletic, they don't go very deep in terms of the numbers they play. They only play 6 or 7 guys. I wonder if that's sort of kind of a wearing down the first, the first quarter's all hyped up, sort of getting into the ball game again, settling down. Could that be something that wears on this Martinsville team?
Well, if Gate City starts off throwing up the 3-pointers and they don't go in, I'm a little worried Martinsville could open up a pretty good lead in the first quarter.
Well, and we talked about that. When Martinsville jumps in that 2-3 zone, again, with that athleticism across that front line, it's going to create trouble for us if we're not able to hit some of those outside shots and loosen them up or maybe force them out back into the man-to-man.
Well, I was talking to Coach Boy when we first got here, and he was telling me they're kind of looking for a box and one and some double team on Irvin and Dean. I just hope that they don't get frustrated, and if they do that, that should open someone else up. And Coach also said that they're expecting Martinsville to spread the defense out. And I said, well, that could be a good thing because that's going to open up the inside. And he agreed with me. So that's kind of the direction Gate City's looking for this to flow.
As long as they can exploit it and create movement and get some movement cutters, it'll be a great thing. Again, we talked about this before. I think that Martinsville's probably called Dobbins, Bennett, and Cleveland. How did these teams beat Gate City? How did they slow them down? And again, what was especially at the Arby's, it really was, they put on a clinic in terms of doubling Irvin and Dean. It was very physical with them, and again, forced somebody else to step up. So also talking about this Martinsville team, when they're on offense, of course, they believe in a lot of movement, but they also like to pull up and hit a lot of threes. Their top three guys are hitting at least 33% from three-point land, so they're not afraid to get in one of those kind of games as well. So it'd be interesting to see if we do, as you say, match up going toe-to-toe with their kind of up and down tempo.
Well, I found one last interesting statistic. When you look at neutral court play this season, Martinsville is 5-2. Gate City's coming in 4-2. So they're almost identical. But let's be realistic. This is not exactly a neutral court for Gate City. I'd say 75% of the fans here are wearing blue tonight.
Yes, indeed. Great crowd here again. I believe the seating capacity is about 2,000. It's probably at least 80% full. So a couple other things before. Again, we've got about 1:45 before tip-off. I think something that plays into mind, this may be a revenge match for Gate City. It was 3 years ago that this Martinsville team ended Gate City's season in the VHSL Final Four. Of course, in Richmond. That was Zach Irvin's freshman year. And talking about Irvin, he had an 8-game absence. He played 3 or 4 in the regional. Now he's had 6 days off. Do you think he'll come back in a little rusty again? Because with being, it's different being in practice shape and game shape.
Well, we've talked about how he's not looked the same since he's come back. But as I said the last game, I'll take a rusty Zach Irvin over just about anyone else in the state of Virginia.
Connected on 21 points in that regional championship game with Graham. So, all right, so we're going to take a quick break. We've got the starting lineups coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll get to those. And again, we're getting ready. Martinsville and Gate City live from Virginia High School here in Bristol. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
For exceptional Mexican food and the perfect place to stop in before heading out to watch another Gate City victory, La Carreta Express in Weber City offers a tremendous menu of authentic Mexican cuisine at a great price. La Carreta proudly supports Blue Devil Sports, and they're open 7 days a week, even until 10 p.m. every night except Sunday. So dine in with them today or give them a call at 276-386-7000 for call-in orders. Again, that's 276-386-7000. And they're located next to Weber City Drug on US Highway 23 in Weber City.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. Sports Radio.
All right, Chris, the music is playing. Again, when they introduce the starters here, they'll introduce the whole team, the non-starters first, and then, of course, our starting 5. Looks like on the bench right now for Gate City, it's going to be Zach Irvin, Drew Vermillion, John Compton. Is John Sally getting the start?
I believe so. I don't see him standing anyway.
And Bradley Dean will also be the starting 5 for Gate City. Again, a jam-packed house. A lot of excitement here tonight. Again, Gate City comes into this ballgame. This is for the 4th year in a row we've qualified for at least the VHSL Elite 8.
Joe, this is a pretty electric crowd tonight. I think everybody's amped up for this rematch.
A lot on the line. The winner, again, will take on the winner of Graham and Bradford, which is going on right now at Pulaski County High School.